Bagley. Here. Harding. Here. Johnson. I'll come back. Melton. Here. Palermo is absent. Rowe. Here. Mr. President.
Here.
Johnson.
Here. Please rise for the pledge and remarks by Councilmember Harding.
Monday, we will celebrate Memorial Day. And I think it's important for us to remember what this day actually means to us and to know maybe some of the similarities and differences that it shares with Veterans Day. So both are designed to celebrate members of the U.S. military, but Memorial Day specifically is to honor those killed in or as a result of those who were killed in battle. Veterans Day is a day to honor all servicemen and women, and especially those who remain with us to share their experiences. Memorial Day was originally known as Decoration Day, and it began shortly after the conclusion of the Civil War. And then after about World War I, the focus changed to honor all those who had died in battle in service of the United States. And then in 1968, President Johnson signed into law the Uniform Holiday Bill, which packaged several holidays to the tail end to make the 3-day weekends, hoping to spur or promote commerce and travel. So since 1971, Memorial Day has been celebrated on the 4th Monday of May. And so I hope that we can all enjoy this upcoming weekend, whether it's with family or friends, with a hot dog or apple pie, or maybe a cold beverage. But please, I also hope that you can take some time to reflect on the true reason that we celebrate Memorial Day.
Thank you. Madam Clerk.
An affidavit of publication is on file for the pre-council and city council meeting, and a current copy of the Open Meeting Act is posted in a white binder on the east wall of legislative chambers.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Omaha City Council. We appreciate having you here. Also, thank you for your patience as we got started there, as the county board meeting went a little bit long. I'd encourage you to put your cell phones on vibrate or even turn them off, and we look forward to hearing from you on these many items. We'll start the meeting with a presentation we have by Councilmember Bagley in honor of National Public Works Week. Mr. Bagley.
Thank you, Mr. President. Whereas Public Works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to the public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of Nebraska. And whereas these infrastructure, facilities, and services cannot be provided without the dedicated efforts of public works professionals, who are engineers, managers, and teammates from state and local governments and the private sector responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment and solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest for citizens, civic leaders, and children in Nebraska to gain knowledge of and to maintain an active interest and understanding of the importance of public works programs in their respective communities. Whereas 2023 marks the 63rd annual National Public Works Week, sponsored by the American Public Works Association, Canadian Public Works Association, with more than 30,000 members across the U.S. and Canada, educating and energizing the public on the importance of public works in their daily lives. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City of Omaha officially designates the week of May 21st to May 27th, 2023 as National Public Works Week in Omaha, Nebraska. In witness whereof, we have set our hands and caused the official seal of the City of Omaha to be affixed on this 23rd day of May 2023. Is Mr. Stubbe?
Jim Tyler's going to come up.
Okay, where's he? Okay.
If I may, I'm just going to say a few words on behalf of the department. I'll be brief, as I know you said this was going to be a short meeting, Pete.
So bring your speech there.
I always bring my cheat sheet because I wanted to make sure I recognized a few things here. And first and foremost, I wanted to recognize the City Council for all the support you provide to us. And we could not do the work we do without the support of our elected officials. We have over 700 employees in 10 divisions within the Public Works Department. We can't do these duties without our partnerships with contractors, consulting engineers, vendors, material suppliers, and I want to thank all those partners for helping us perform these duties. We touch people's lives every day. The snow gets plowed, wastewater gets treated, trash and recycling gets collected. We partner with other city departments to help manage the city's emergency response to major floods and destructive windstorms. Much of the work we do goes unrecognized, and sometimes we get recognized when things are not going as planned. But we keep working no matter what, 365 days a year. As a department, we're trying very hard to embrace the philosophy of proactive asset management. Let's manage the assets we're responsible for at the lowest cost we can to the citizens of Omaha, and we take that very seriously. But what we take even more seriously is what that most important asset we have, and that's the 700 employees that make up the Public Works Department. The most important thing we do is make sure those employees go home to their families at the end of every day safe. And we thank you for your support.
Thank you. We appreciate the work of our Public Works Department. Thanks for those remarks. Madam Clerk.
Item 6, to consider a Class C liquor license for Estilo Jalisco, located at 1837 Vinton Street.
Public hearing and vote on number 6 is today. Proponents, please.
Good afternoon. Public Works, thank you. Thank you. Much appreciated. We're applying for a liquor license at Estilo Jalisco. My wife and I, she's not here today. She's at her other business. Been at it since last January, and things have been going really well. We've been recognized throughout the community and throughout the city and in other areas as a really, really good restaurant, food-wise and customer service-wise. And people come in asking, you know, do you guys serve alcohol? And so I'm like, sorry, you know, we'll try to work on it, and we'll figure things out and see how it goes. Well, I think this year is the year that, you know, we get pushing on this and try to, you know, welcome people and have a margarita with their meal or a beer with their tacos. And I'm just hoping this commission would grant me that ability to sell alcohol here at Estilo Jalisco.
Great, thank you. And your name and address for the record?
Marco Garza. The address is 1837 Vinton Street, Omaha, Nebraska, 68108.
Thanks. Are there any other proponents that want to speak today? Seeing none, any opponents? Public hearing's closed. Motion and a second to approve. Roll call.
Bagley. Harding. Johnson. Melton. Rowe. Mr. President.
Yes.
Motion passed 6-0.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yep, good luck.
One public hearing can be held for items 7 through 10 to consider Class I liquor licenses for First Watch locations as listed on the agenda.
Public hearing and vote today are on items 7, 8, 9, and 10. We'll have one public hearing for these items and then separate votes, right? We have the proponent by Zoom, Mr. Lifia. We'll get you off mute here in a minute. Okay, try that.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Good, thanks.
So my name is Philip Livia. I'm the Regional Vice President for First Watch Corporate in the Midwest, and just representing corporate here, trying to get the alcohol license for all the new acquisitions from the franchise group that we had.
Okay, thank you. Any other proponents that want to speak today? Seeing none, any opponents? Public hearing's closed. Item 7, right? Yep. So I have a motion and a second to approve item 7. No further lights. Roll call.
Bagley. Harding. Johnson. Melton. Rowe. Mr. President.
Yes.
Motion passed 6-0.
Is there a motion on 8? Motion and a second. Roll call.
Bagley. Harding. Johnson. Melton. Rowe. Mr. President.
Yes.
Motion passed 6-0.
Is there a motion on 9? Motion and a second. Roll call.
Bagley. Harding. Johnson. Melton. Rowe. Mr. President.
Yes.
Motion passed 6-0.
And a motion on 10. Motion and a second. Roll call.
Bagley. Harding. Johnson. Melton. Rowe. Mr. President.
Yes.
Motion passed 6-0.
Thank you.
One public hearing can be held for items 11 through 14 to consider Class I liquor licenses for Don and Millie locations as listed on the agenda.
Public hearing and votes on items 11, 12, 13, and 14 are today. This will be similar. We'll have one public hearing, then a vote on each item. Proponents, please.
Dean Rasmussen, Don and Millie's, home address 2405 South 103rd Street in Omaha. Here to answer any questions for you. We're in the transition period of ownership, and during that period, I'll be the managing member of the liquor license, and then once the full license for the new owner gets taken care of, why I'll bow out. So, any questions?
You've been doing this for a while now, haven't you?
It'd be 50 years week after next when I open my first restaurant here in Omaha.
Wow.
Grandmother's restaurant. So,
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's a
Thanks.
big milestone.
Yeah, it's been a great run. Omaha's been a great city to do business in.
I think we can probably trust you with these liquor licenses after all those years.
Okay, I'm glad.
Any other proponents that want to speak today? If not, any opponents? Public hearing's closed. Motion and a second. Roll call.
Bagley. Harding. Johnson. Melton. Rowe. Mr. President.
Yes.
Motion passed 6-0.
Is there a motion on 12? Motion and a second. Roll call.
Bagley. Harding. Johnson. Melton. Rowe. Mr. President.
Yes.
Motion passed 6-0.
Motion on 13. Motion and a second. Roll call.
Bagley. Harding. Johnson. Melton. Rowe. Mr. President.
Yes.
Motion passed 6-0.
And 14. Roll call.
Bagley. Harding. Johnson. Melton. Rowe. Mr. President.
Yes.
Motion passed 6-0.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Item 15, to consider a Class AB liquor license for Dry Spokes located at 1901 Leavenworth Street.
Public hearing and vote on number 15 is today. Proponents, please.
Good afternoon, Rob Fusey, 500 Energy Plaza, on behalf of the applicant. I have with us Leah Wright, who's part of our management team as well. Just real quickly, this is kind of an oddball one. Dry Spokes is a dry bar, operates next to where Shucks is located. Under the Liquor Control Act, near beer requires a liquor license. They're looking to start selling non-alcoholic beers to the extent that qualifies as near beer. That's why we're here. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any other proponents? Seeing none, any opponents? Public hearing is closed. Motion and a second. Roll call.
Bagley. Harding. Johnson. Melton. Rowe. Mr. President.
Yes.
Motion passed 6-0.
Thanks.
Item 16, a resolution to approve the preliminary plat for Indian Creek Preserve located southeast of 204th and 4th Streets. Planning Board and Planning Department recommend approval.
Public hearing and vote on number 16 is today. Proponents, please.
Brett Schuld, 14503 Grover Street, Omaha. I'm here on behalf of the applicant. So this is kind of finishing out the Indian Creek subdivision. It's split into 2 phases with that being everything south of 4th Street and with the relocation of 4th Street. And we've reviewed all the city staff comments and we're agreeable to all those. So myself and the applicant are here to answer any questions if you have any.
Great. Thank you. Any other proponents today? Seeing none, any opponents? Public hearing's closed. Motion and a second. Roll call.
Bagley. Harding. Johnson. Melton. Rowe. Mr. President.
Yes.
Motion passed 6-0. Consent agenda. Any member of the city council may cause any item placed on the consent agenda to be removed. Items removed from the consent agenda shall be taken up by the city council immediately following the consent agenda in the order in which they were removed, unless otherwise provided by the city council rules of order.
The public hearings on agenda items 17 through 21 were held on May 16th. There's no further lights. Is there a motion? Motion and a second. Roll call.
Bagley. Harding. Johnson. Melton. Rowe. Mr. President.
Yes.
Motion passed 6-0.
We've had a request to remove 2 items off the consent agenda, so items number 30 and 36 will be removed and taken separately. So first, we'll have the public hearings on agenda items number 22 through 29 and 31 through 35 and 37. If you wish to address the city council regarding these items, please come to the microphone, indicate the agenda item number you wish to address, identify yourself by name and address and who you represent, and if you are a proponent or an opponent.
Good afternoon. I'm Nicole Bogan. My address is 121 South 13th Street, Lincoln, Nebraska. I'm here on consent agenda item 22 on behalf of Go Brands for their liquor license manager application, GB License LLC, doing business as Go Brands. The application materials are in the resolution. If you have any questions,
Great.
let me know.
Thank you.
I'm here as a proponent.
All right. We appreciate that. Any other testifiers on these items? I believe we may have had a proponent on number 32, not on Zoom. Okay. Seeing no one else, public hearing is closed. Is there a motion? Motion and a second. Roll call.
Bagley. Harding. Harding.
Just to be clear, so we know what we're voting on, should we name off the resolutions that we're voting on?
It was 22 through 29.
That wasn't stated for what we were voting on.
Okay, well, that's the case. Are you a yes?
It's 20.
I will move up, since it was my motion, I will move to approve 22 through 29, 31 through 35,
5.
and 37.
There you go. Okay, I'll restart the vote. Bagley.
Aye.
Harding.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Melton.
Yes.
Rowe. Mr. President.
Yes.
Motion passed 6-0. Item 30, a resolution to approve the contract with NLNL Concrete, Inc. for the Interstate 480 parking lot modifications.
Public hearing and vote on number 30 is today. Proponents, please.
Ken Smith, Public Works Department. Here to support and answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Any other proponents today?
Jared Anderson, City Human Rights and Relations, proponent for 30. Any questions you have on the EAP as well, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you. Which was just sent to council members this afternoon, correct?
Correct.
Yes. All right. Other proponents today on number 30? Seeing none, any opponents? Public hearing's closed. Joe, is your light on?
Point of order.
Okay, there's a motion and a second to approve. Ms. Johnson, you're recognized.
This question is for the Human Rights and Relations team.
Jared Anderson, City Human Rights and Relations.
Thank you, Jared. How are you today?
I'm good, how are you?
Good. I noticed, as I mentioned in the pre-council, that this organization had a diversity and inclusion plan that they submitted as a part of their package for the bidding process. Unfortunately, I did not see that attached to this agenda today, nor have any other individuals in the community have they seen the attached document. So I assume you have that information now?
Correct.
Can we show that now so that those are watching and it becomes a public record?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I get to push it up all the way there.
So this is just a copy of my own, just so you know. So if there's notes on it, it's because it's mine. First things first, NL&L Concrete, excuse me, does have an approved annual EEIP plan, which is Economic Equity and Inclusion Plan. This is different from a DEI plan. Also, NL&L resides in District 5, and like I said, they have an approved plan. This is the cover sheet. This is what is submitted with the bid, and then it is approved by Human Rights and Relations. As long as everything that goes through here meets the requirements of the program, which are 3 components. You've got your SEB utilization, workforce development, and your youth engagement. Those are the 3 key components. So if you're looking at this annual plan that NL&L has approved and had already submitted with their bid, you can see they have their subcontracting part. As you move on, they have hit on the workforce development part. And also youth engagement.
Okay, thank you for presenting that. And in the future, can we include that in our packages that are being presented to City Council?
I would have to defer that question elsewhere. I'm not exactly sure who puts the agendas together and what documents they include. I do know that as far as bids go, once they are public, this would be considered as part of the bid package, one of the exhibits.
Okay, and if you don't have that answer, who might have that answer?
I would defer to the clerk, perhaps. Christian Espinoza, perhaps.
Christian Espinosa, Human Rights and Relations Department. So the Economic Equity and Inclusion Plan, they receive a certificate, and if they have approved one, they can attach to their bid project. It will be a burden for the public and for the public works too to have a copy of every single contract they have in EIP. Now, if any member of the public would like to do that, they can have a public request if they want to see a specific economic equity and inclusion plan. Now, we have to keep in mind that sometimes the plans have companies' personal information that cannot be released right away, so we will have to redact that kind of information. Sometimes they disclose how much they pay their subcontractors, so it's not something that we can release just like that. We will have to vet it before. So any member of the public might answer for a public request, and we will gladly give it to them.
So I would like to ask that your department include that in your successful bidder pack that you are presenting to City Council. Yeah. Should you want us to consider voting for it, because the city has agreed that they wanted to be very inclusive. If we have that information, why are we hiding it? It gives the appearance that we are hiding it. There's no transparency when we're not including that in the agenda, because that's needed.
Yeah. We are not hiding it. It's up to the solicitor department to include it or release it with the bid package. We don't have a say on that. So it will be every department to if they want to include it or not. And now, as I said before, it is public through a public request information. We can release that information. I don't think that we will be able to attach every single economic equity and inclusion plan to every single bid. Mm-hmm. That's the reason we release certificates, to make sure that they are up to date with us. Mm-hmm. And but if any member of the public would like to know, any council members would like to know, they can let us know which project you are talking about, and we mm-hmm. definitely release it to you.
Okay. Correction, let me be clear. I'm not saying that you're hiding anything. I'm just saying it doesn't give the appearance of being transparent. If the information is being supplied during the application process, it would be helpful to be transparent and present that to this body when you are wanting us to vote it up or down. As for District 2, we are marginalized, impacted by inclusion and equity. So it becomes very difficult for me as the representative to vote for something like this when I don't have that information. So it would be helpful, again, I'm asking that we include that so that I can vote with good conscience. Otherwise, I will have to vote no when that is not included in the package. And I'm just stating that for the record.
And then again, that is up to the departments. It's not that the Human Rights and Relations. The only thing that we do is to approve and give the companies the certification of approval. So if the city departments would like to do that and is in favor, I mean, that is up to them to do it. That is not up to the Human Rights and Relations.
Thank you. We're clear on both of our expectations.
Yeah, but then, yeah, it is correct. But then again, that is not up to the Human Rights and Relations. It will be up to the departments who has the project. We don't do anything about releasing. If they want to include it, we can provide it to them. But we don't have to do anything with the bids. The only thing that we do is like they request, we have either have an approval EIP. If they do, we sign off and then we move the package. So it's up to the departments to decide what to include in the bid package. It's not up to us.
Thank you. Again, I've made my point clear. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Harding, you're recognized.
Would it be safe to say that you would not sign off on it or move it on to our agenda if they didn't have that?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Now for the lights, there was a motion and a second to approve. Roll call.
Bagley. Harding. Johnson.
I wasn't done because I had some additional questions for the bidder.
We're during roll call. It's in the vote, though.
We are in the vote. I didn't see a light on, so I proceeded with a roll call.
I will vote no in this instance.
Okay.
Melton. Yes. Rowe. Yes. Mr. President.
Yes.
Motion passed 5-1. Item 36, resolution to approve an amendment to an agreement with Victory Boxing in the amended amount of $50,000 for the Victory Boxing Club Youth Program.
Public hearing and vote on number 36 is today. I will note an amendment of the whole. Are there any proponents? Seeing none, any opponents? Public hearing is closed. Motion and a second to approve. Roll call.
Bagley. Harding. Johnson. Melton. Rowe. Mr. President.
Yes.
Motion passed 5-1. Item 38, an ordinance to amend special ordinance number 10338, sidewalks district number SWR 2022-01.
Public hearing on number 38 is today. Proponents, please. Seeing none, any opponents? Public hearing is closed.
Item 39, an ordinance to approve a major amendment to the Lakeside Plaza Mixed-Use Development Agreement. Planning Board and Planning Department recommend approval.
Public hearing on number 39 is today. Proponents, please.
Yes, Mr. President, members of the council, Larry Jovin, 11440 Western Road, appearing on behalf of the applicant. This is simply to allow indoor recreation at the Lakeside Plaza Shopping Center in the former Gordman's store location for a bowling alley, arcades, pizza parlor, etc. So I'm here to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any other proponents? Seeing none, any opponents? Public hearing is closed.
Item 40, an ordinance to transfer $43,867 in the 2023 budget from the wage adjustment account to the fire department.
Public hearing on number 40 is today. Proponents, please. Seeing none, any opponents? Public hearing is closed.
Item 41, an ordinance to approve contracts with Thompson Reuters for specialized books and services for the law department.
Public hearing on number 41 is today. Proponents, please. Seeing none, any opponents? Public hearing is closed.
Non-action items, items 42 through 57 do not require public hearing or city council consideration at this meeting, but will be placed on a future agenda for public hearing and or vote. The reason for non-action is noted after the item on the agenda, as well as the date the item is expected to appear on agenda for consideration.
Thank you. Is there a motion to go into closed session to talk about and discuss only labor negotiations.
Make a motion to go into closed session.
Motion and a second. Roll call.
Bagley.
Aye.
Harding. Johnson.
Yes.
Melton. Rowe. Mr. President.
Yes.
Motion passed 6-0. We
And I'll
will
state just
adjourn.
for the record, it's only a closed session to discuss labor negotiations, including the city council, city attorney, city clerk, and city council chief of staff.
And we will go into closed session at 2:37.
Thank you.
Chief going to get him tomorrow?
City Council is now coming out of executive session in which we only discussed labor negotiations. Is there a motion to come out of executive session?
Motion to come out of executive session.
I'll second.
I don't know how.
Roll call.
Bagley.
Yes.
Harding.
Dirty Harding, yes.
Johnson. Looks like she's absent for this vote. Melton. Melton. Rowe. Mr. President.
Yes.
Motion passed 5-0.
Is there a motion to adjourn? Motion and a second. Roll call.
Bagley. Harding. Johnson is absent. Melton. Rowe. Mr. President.
Yes.
Motion passed 5-0. Meeting is adjourned at 3:08.